I just want to give you a bit of an insight into the AFL Enjoys team. We're a bunch of unique individuals, Matsa, Sfenda, and Dean. We're going to engage with our minds and our hearts. We're going to exchange ideas, thoughts, and even our energy. And to speak from your heart, you need to have courage. You need to be honest and authentic. We're not always going to get it right, and sometimes you're not going to agree with us. But that's okay, because just like you, we care. Just like you, we're passionate about the game. So if you want to come along for the ride, join us at the AFL Enjoys podcast, because we really enjoy the footy. Hello and welcome back to the AFL Enjoys podcast. The Baggers did it, baby.
I can't believe it, man. It was ridiculous. The whole footy world was watching Carlton be relevant, which was cool. Very cool for the first time.
Even my wife was watching intently.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on.
Well,
Wow.
siblings, people were messaging me that like have never watched football before, like congratulations. I'm like, shit, this is cool. I can't believe it, man. Like a couple minutes left. I'm like this. My body language is terrible. There's no way I could have expected to win it because Melbourne have all the ascendancy. They're missing shots. But all they need is one goal, and it's over. Like no reasonable footy fan would be like, all right, Carlton's got it from here. And so I'm just thinking, please pinch it, please steal it. Like that's the way it's a steal if you win. And they have that one play where it's just perfection, kick that goal. And after that, it just descended into chaos for the last minute. It was good, very good.
You were messaging in the chat pretty actively, even though you were at the game, which I respected. Yeah. And then after that last goal went in, you messaged once, and then I haven't heard from you. It's been about 2 days until you got here. So.
Yeah, I was like venting. Like the people next to me were like geeing up, but they weren't willing to talk to me. Like I was like,
what?
I was like, the guy next to me had a hook of a hand. He had a hook as a hand. So I don't know what his backstory was. Maybe he was a fisherman or something, but I don't know.
Fisherman of all things.
He got eaten by a shark or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
So
Did he have an eye patch as well or no?
No eye patch. I was a bit scared to high five that guy. The other ones around me like British, and I don't think they understood the game. They're like, in our game, the semi-final is before the grand final.
This makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah. So
what is a preliminary final?
Yeah.
What even is that?
That's right. So I was like, I'll just vent to the boys. I was texting my dad because I couldn't get tickets with anyone because they just sold out so quickly. I was kind of sitting by myself, even though I knew plenty of people at the game. And so I was texting everyone like, we're going to lose, stuff this shit, I can't believe it, there's no way. And then, after they kicked that goal, I didn't even know who kicked it. I didn't know Akers kicked it because when Docherty's running on the half-forward line, kicks it up to the 50, everyone's standing up to kind of see what's happening. And you can't sit down in that moment. You can't just see Docherty streaming in for the final game of the play and just have your leg up going, let's see what happens. That's not the way it works.
No.
So everyone's up and about. I could hardly see who kicked it. It didn't even matter. It's like shit. Like from we've lost to when Akers marks it, we've marked it, we've kicked it, he almost missed it, but you couldn't tell. Only from the actual watching it on the video you could tell. At the game it's just the sound, so that we've kicked it. I completely look over to Mr. Hook Hand to see how much his time is left over on the game, and it said like 56 seconds on the AFL app. I'm like, oh my god, everyone's losing their mind. I'm like, oh my god, and then I felt like we were going to win it from there. Let's be honest. There's no way they let that one go.
No.
As a contested team, they just trapped it in, and they won a couple of one-on-one contests, and then Kennedy streamed in and took the time off the clock with the left foot. So yeah. Pretty crazy.
Can I just say something about that winning goal that no one's really spoken about is McGovern, who had pushed forward.
And Kemp as well. So Voss sent both of them forward.
Yeah, and McGovern, crucially though, in the goal square, he's coming back with a flight. And if he's done something stupid there and made contact with the Melbourne defender front on, he's giving away a blocking free. But he turned at the right time to pretend to mark it.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect disguise.
Hey, the man used to be a forward.
Yeah, but how easily could that have been? Akers marked it, but then there's a free the other way and you guys lose your minds.
Yeah.
And a free kick against, right? So
yeah, you're right.
Perfect all round. I mean, Akers playing on, he probably knew there was maybe 2 minutes left or a minute left, but to play on in the goal square, risky.
True. He could have soaked up some clock and got you guys ahead.
Like imagine the siren went right as he's kicking it. Like that would have been controversial. Anyway.
Look, a lot. Yeah.
He must have known. You'd have to think.
I don't know, man. The guy hasn't made much of a mistake in the finals. The guy's playing like I saw some meme on Facebook today, and it was like the way I'm going to build my house, and it's like a plan view, and it had like small bedroom, small bathroom, small kitchen, and then it had like a really big rectangle or like L-shaped, and it's like shrine to Blake Acres. So like he's become like a legend now for the Blues, because last final he kicked the winning goal. He touched 2 of Sydney's goals on the boundary line. He won this one. He's running like a dog. He can't use his shoulder, so he's had. I don't know what's wrong with his shoulder, but it's either popped out or dislocated, or he's playing with a messed up. He's playing with one arm. You see, he's running. He's just running with his one arm. He's still covering nearly the most ground out of any player. He's a freak. And now all the memes about him being a future third rounder. Like you could have paid this year. You could have paid a first round pick for Akers and be satisfied. That's how good he's been. It's crazy.
Value for that trade. So
unreal, man. I mean, look, we'll talk a bit more about Carlton, but Melbourne, let's speak about them for a little while, because in that third quarter, Carlton was horrendous. Like, I've never seen a team try to throw away a final more than that quarter. They were turning it over with every kick, playing on handballing for no reason. Like
giving away, like get a 50-meter and then like instantly pass it off to
the just you name it. Carlton did it that quarter, and I'm thinking to myself, geez, what's going on here? But still, they only lost the quarter by about a goal and a couple behinds. Last quarter starts, Carlton hits the lead, but this is when Melbourne just lost it for me. There was a stretch in time where they were up by 7 points, and just proceed to kick 5 straight behinds.
Yeah, it's crazy.
A couple, like Gorney touched that one on the line. Then you had Pickett missing. Gorn hit the post.
Fritz Mitch.
Close enough.
And you're just thinking when you're watching it, like, it's getting to that point now where Melbourne's losing the game, but still Carlton didn't look like winning it.
No,
so,
they had no run, man.
Yeah, it was like Carlton doesn't or can't seem to win it because Melbourne's defense was exceptional. Yeah. But Melbourne just couldn't kill the game. So it was just in a state of flux for so long.
Yeah.
And I said, I was sitting here, said to my wife, like, Carlton's going to have one more chance. Maybe, if they're lucky. And like you said, it was perfect. So,
but like the crazy part is like, it was a turnover, so Viney kicks it on his wrong foot, 10 metres to Wiedering to intercept it. Wiedering instantly passes it, like switches it into the middle to Hollands. Like he goes for the courageous kind of, there's no other option, right? All or nothing. Hollands kick, first final as a sub, comes on. It's pretty good kick to Doherty. Somehow Doherty does some matrix thing where him and McVie go for the same ball at the same time, but like McVie passes through him like a ghost.
And McVie was very good as well. That was just...
He played a good game. That's probably like one of the few contests he lost, right?
Yeah.
Because if he didn't make it a contest and he just stood the mark, Doherty couldn't have played on, you know what I mean? It would have been such a quick, entry into the 50. But look, I think you got to go for it if you're McVie in that moment. Like, how are you going to have that?
He must
foresight?
have. Yeah, obviously he must have thought he could get it, but you're right, because he overcommitted and went all out on the spoil.
Yeah,
he left it open for Doherty to run and go deep in the 50 rather than.
It was just one. Like everything aligned for that one play. Carlton just put it together for one play. It was fascinating.
What do you make of and I don't agree with this, but what do you make of the people who say, couple dubious calls in that last quarter, like Carlton, the deliberate that wasn't paid, and then on the other end, Melbourne's been done for deliberate.
Go jump off a bridge. Man.
I don't agree with it. I haven't actually seen too many Melbourne fans complaining of it, to be honest.
It's all neutral supporters that don't want Carlton to win.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Carlton is going to get a lot of hate. No one wants them to be. It's just like Collingwood. No one wants them to be successful. Like I get it. That's part of the Carlton has so much support, but part of the advantage, the disadvantage of having such a big club is that everyone else hates you. It's part of it. I don't care.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't.
I watched the game again, and I don't think there was anything too crazy.
Yeah.
Well, look.
Well, the side one that went out, there was again like 30 seconds later, a Melbourne player had the exact same touch, and they didn't pay it deliberate. So they complain. Ooh, 30 seconds later, Melbourne quiet, don't say anything. Go, just shut up.
Yeah.
Be self-aware at least once in your life, man.
Well, what's the thing? It's like those few decisions, right? They don't make up for the fact that Melbourne was what? It was a 9-17. That's it. 9-17 kicking. That, like, you can't blame a couple umpires. Umpire calls when you're kicking is that bad.
The game was simple. Melbourne, like Carlton's super tough team. They left it all out there. They played as tough as they can. A lot of injury. Cripps got a couple of knocks. Doherty popped out his shoulder half time, strapped it up and got back out there and managed to mark the ball above his head. Right, Akers is playing like this with his shoulder 2 rounds in a row, marks it above his head multiple times. The Wiedering cops one in the throat. McGovern cops one over the head. Walsh gets thrown into the fence. They played tough, right? But at the same time, Melbourne was tougher. They were strong, classier. They should have won, but they just couldn't put it away. It's only themselves to blame. There's no umpires.
And mind you as well, they did a great job nullifying Kerno.
Great job.
I mean, we know how good Lever and May are as a combo. They had his number all game long.
Yeah.
And still, there's a way to win, which is, testament to Carlton. But Melbourne really should have been about 4 goals up at 3/4 time, and they weren't. Pickett, for me, we've been saying for a while, like his form's been very indifferent. But in that game, I mean, he's given away, he's reversed a free kick when Smith's got a kick at goal in the first quarter. He's given away a few 50s.
Yep.
In a game where like territory and small margins, like he literally caused about 2 or 3 goals to go the other way, either via missing or turning the ball over and giving away frees. Like, I think that just sums up Melbourne's mindset. Even at times, Petrarca, who we love, but tried to take on a bit too much. Instead of giving the easy handball, he wanted the glory, trying to kick it from 50 off one step. You know, things like that were happening. And I'm just thinking to myself, these guys just don't have that same level of teamwork that Carlton was willing to play with.
Yeah,
they're not as connected. I don't think it's connected.
The trust isn't there. Like and obviously, the trust isn't there compared to their winning the grand final, win. So, and that's all the difference. And you can hear it with there's a lack of belief in the list and, and how it's shaping up week to week. You can just tell from the media, from them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, very disappointing. That's the second year in a row now Melbourne's been swept from a top 4 position. So 2 years in a row, top 4, not one final win.
Yeah.
That is embarrassing.
It's bad. It's bad.
Easier to sort of see them there again, though, next year. I mean, why wouldn't they?
Yeah. Well, look, they'll obviously trade Brody Grundy, and that's 600,000 in the salary that's going to go. That frees up space to pick someone else up. I don't know if they're going to use all that cap, but they might get a second round pick.
Who's the big names out there, though, that haven't nominated a team yet? That's
Chol, if they needed a forward.
They need a forward.
Yeah, and like the thing is with Chol, he kicked 40 goals 2 seasons ago, but if he can't break into the Gold Coast team right now, like, I don't know. Casbolt took the role ahead of him, which probably shows that Casbolt is a better contested mark than Chol. Like, that's my guess. Like, I'm assuming it's for structure and it's for that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can Chol be this? Can he take a few contested marks? I know he can do a bit of ruck work, which is kind of what they need next to with Gawn. They need that forward line ruck.
Tell you what, it would have hurt them as well to see the next night Jesse Hogan dominating.
I know. Yeah. He hasn't played there for like 7 years or something.
I know, but he was their chosen one at one point.
He was
a big key forward, top pick that was actually good. Anyway,
I'm
that was a
trying to
long
think.
time ago.
I don't know who they could take to solve their forward. Like, other than like a Harry Mackay, he's not going anywhere. But unless you just take a massive name,
it's not going to happen. It's going to be like Chol is there, and the other one, Burgess, who I don't know if you guys remember, defender / forward for Gold Coast, another Gold Coast player, but he's led the VFL in goals scored this year.
Yeah.
So that's another one off the top of my head who you would think are available, considering Gold Coast are about to get another key forward in the draft.
I think they're just going to trust Petty, who they threw forward at some points. Van Rooyen, he's a very good young player.
They just got to develop. Like, Joel Smith played pretty well. He's athletic.
Look, as a body, he's fine, but I think Van Rooyen's the one for them. He needs to be fit. Obviously unlucky with the suspension, but he's a second-year player, and his physique is just incredible.
Well, Melksham's not going to be available next year, and he provided something for them.
Yeah.
Ben Brown's on their list, but
I think he's done.
I don't know what.
Yeah, he's washed. Yeah, he's done.
And
he gave them a few
Tom
good
McDonald, I'm surprised he hasn't retired, to be honest.
Yeah. It's an interesting one, man. Look, like I said, I think they will be in and around the top 4 convo again next year, but it's a bit strange that they haven't managed to win a final in 2 years. But
they don't have the list to win the flag, obviously.
Yeah.
Because you need all of your parts of your game to be spot on to win. And they've got the backline and they've got the midfield. They just don't have the forward connection.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, do they try to go for another gun midfielder? Let's say Bailey Smith is available, for example, right? And then a forward Petrarca more time forward.
I don't mind it at all.
You know what I mean? And just because he can, I don't know.
I think
Petrarca's so good in the midfield that you want him there, but at the same time, he could be a dusty type forward, I think. Like,
he can be, but in the big final, you probably just want him in the midfield again anyway. Like at this point of the year, you'll do what you did already, which is throw Petrarca back in the guts when push comes to shove, in my opinion. So
I'd like to see Petrarca in the forward line, personally.
He'd be fantastic, but you'd also love him from the middle. You know what I mean?
of course, but if you can manage with Clary, Viney, I don't know. Like that, Bailey Smith is the first one that comes to mind because he hasn't been getting the midfield time at the Bulldogs. But
I think that would be a similar. I'm not going to say mistake because Smith is a great player, but they've allocated all those funds to Grundy, failed. I think just actually they need to look at their list, say what they need, and go for it. Specifically, someone who plays the role, and don't try shoehorn too much. That's my feeling anyway. Who's been their MVP this year? Do you think?
It has to be Petrarca, I think.
yeah,
Oliver's been gone for half the season, so he's not going to poll in Brownlow and in their club best and fairest as well. Gawn hasn't been that dominant because it's kind of been a Grundy Gawn show.
look, when Gawn has been the solo ruck, he's been immense, but he hasn't done it the whole year.
No,
so
hasn't done it much.
Yeah. But even then, when he was playing in the forward line, he was still able to, he was selfless enough to take that role and made a little bit of an impact. But
Yeah. I think Petrarca's the obvious one.
yeah, 100%.
Who would be number 2?
Probably
Is it Clary even on 14 games?
I think
don't
Steve
know.
May's always, I guess, out. You can throw him out there as a name.
Yeah.
for best and fairest, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't really think of another standard. I mean, probably Viney's probably been all right.
Fritsch, obviously, solid player, but, in the big game, he didn't really deliver the other night.
Yeah. And we know he can deliver on big games, but it just, this year's hasn't really. He's
Yeah,
lost form at the important time of the year, so.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Anything else we want to say about Carlton?
I think surely Georgie has something to say.
I'm sure I can come with something.
Where do you go outlook to next week? So do you think Mackay will be okay based on what you're hearing?
Yeah, I think Mackay and Jack Martin will come back in.
Yep.
Who gets dropped for them?
I think Kennedy might get dropped. I thought Kennedy was okay. Bit slow. I mean, he's not a forward. He's a midfielder, but he's classy enough to kind of play a role of the half forward line. So I think maybe Kennedy goes out, and then it's what they do with Motlop. I think Motlop needs to play personally because he's classy.
Does he get moved to the sub? Maybe.
Do they move him to the sub? I didn't mind Hollands as a sub, to be honest, because he just provides that run last quarter. Do they do dual rucks against Brisbane? Like De Koning was really good up forward.
He impressed me, by the way.
Yeah,
He's looking
he had
really
a real
good.
standout game. So I don't know. I think Voss favours the dual rucks, but do you need a dual ruck against McInerney? I think you kind of do. McInerney is one of those like underrated ruckmen that will really destroy you. If
I don't think Vossi would make such a massive structural change.
I don't think he wants to. So, but both of those players have to come in. So it's maybe a Motlop or maybe someone like a David Cunningham probably hasn't had a massive 2 weeks. Does Jack Martin play the half forward Cunningham role and keep Motlop a little bit deeper? Something like that. But I think Kennedy, unfortunately, is out. Even though I think he's a great player, he's such a luxury kind of depth player. Because if George Hewitt gets injured, Kennedy comes straight in and plays the exact same role to the same standard. But given his skill set is very specific to inside mid, he can't get a look in anywhere else. So
Yeah, because he's a bit of a plotter. He's not that quick.
he's not quick. He's super tough, really good above his head, penetrating kick, classy kick. But yeah, he's an inside mid. That's what he is.
Yep.
So looking forward to Brisbane. Let's be honest, it's not looking good. Like, there's no way you can be confident about going up against Brisbane.
Yeah.
They haven't lost a game at the Gabba all year.
And you know what? To be a bit of a hater right now, so there's a lot of Carlton love, but the wins in the finals have been against Sydney by, 3 points? Or was it 7? 3 points. Anyway, it was within a goal, right?
Yeah. It was 6 points.
6 points, all right? So them who shouldn't have been in the finals, and then this last win was against Melbourne who pissed it away. 9 goals, 17.
Yeah.
So, like, on paper, it should be Brisbane's comfortably, but
They should win. They should win.
Like
But-
you said, though, as well. Sorry, Matt. So, couple players who are battling through injuries, like Akers, Doherty, Mackay's coming back. How's he going to be? We'll see. And then Brisbane's obviously fresh, and they're a powerhouse at the Gabba. People are sort of saying, has Carlton run their race? Won their grand final to even get there? I think that's a bit harsh.
Yeah. The thing is, it's finals. Like, you don't know. Like, remember Bulldogs a few years ago. They just happened to find form at the right time, a little bit of luck, and they won. They won the granny. So
there does feel, to be honest, there does feel like an element of destiny at this Carlton team at the moment. They've won 11 out of 12 games, man. They've beaten Collingwood, they've beaten Port, they've beaten Melbourne twice. You beat Melbourne twice. Yeah, it's small margin, but it's no coincidence. At the end of the day, we're not favourites and we shouldn't be. But man, if we won, oh my god, oh my god,
we're like on straight after, man.
Right, the scenes. You saw the scenes after this weekend, like 96,000 at the G, the biggest crowd I've ever been to. The noise was ridiculous, ridiculous. Heavily dominated Carlton crowd, even though it was a Melbourne home game. We outnumbered them 3-1 at least. Melbourne, we talked about the supporters don't turn up. They don't turn up.
No,
Carlton,
they don't.
We wiped the floor with them. Our noise was triple. Like, there's no home ground advantage to Melbourne at all. Noise, and it seesawed all game. Very combative crowd. But like the elation after the game was crazy. Everyone stuck around. Like, no one, how like the crowd drains after you sing the song and then they go, time to go home. It didn't. Like, everyone stuck around. Everyone was hugging. Like, the most friendly crowd in the world. Like, you could go up to any Carlton supporter in that stadium and talk to them, ask them about their life, whatever. They'd give you the time. I'm going up to randoms and just like, hey bro, how you doing, man? Great win. I can't believe we won that. See you in Brisbane, all that type of stuff. Everyone's high-fiving the crowd. It was and on Swan Street, everyone was going crazy, go Blues. So, yeah, pretty dramatic scenes. It's pretty crazy.
You need to enjoy it. First prelim since 2000. A lot of down years in between.
Yeah, I mean, this is the best Carlton team I've ever seen.
Yeah, you've seen it.
It would be for sure.
You and I, both.
So look, the other thing I don't get is like people like Carlton's going to get a reality check against Brisbane. It's like, bro, are you dumb? We're look where we've come from, right? And we're battling out every game, heart and soul, trying our best and getting the wins. We're not saying we're winning the flag, bro. We're up against an opponent and we beat everyone we've come up to. It has to run out eventually, or it doesn't. But Brisbane is going to the Gabba and versing Brisbane is the hardest challenge in AFL at the moment. If Collingwood had to do it, they'd lose as well. So we'll give it a crack. If we lose, it's no disappointment on Carlton's season. It's been exceptional.
I did say last week, Brisbane's record there, fantastic. But it's still that mental hurdle, being the favourite against the team who has all the momentum. I don't put it past an upset in this case. I think Brisbane hasn't proven anything in the past few years, other than they're a good team, obviously. But to make it at the grand final level, they've still got a long way to go. It's going to be a high-pressure game for them, man. Everything's on them. Like you said, Carlton, if they lose, great season, man.
Yeah.
Brisbane, if they lose, catastrophe again.
Yeah, that's true. It is like for us now, we're just going to throw everything at them and it is what it is. You're right. For them, if they lose, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, if we beat Brisbane, we'll win the flag. I don't care who we're up against in the grand final. There is no way Carlton loses the grand final if they make it, given their run. It's not possible. So this is our grand final this week against Brisbane. If we win, Collingwood don't even bother showing up. Don't even show up.
He's laid it out there.
Don't even show up. We've won.
All right. Speaking of Brisbane still, what are you most worried about though? Obviously, we know that they don't lose there and they're a great team, but specifically, where are you looking at it like, I don't know if we can topple this?
All right. So against Collingwood, right, they're a slingshot team. Carlton beat them by just being too fierce and too strong around the ball, right? But the thing is Brisbane are pretty fierce and strong around the ball, but they have such an aggressive, quick attack that if they even out the contest, they'll just beat us. Carlton has to smash them out of the midfield. So I just think that Brisbane's too quick, too classy. The Gabba's a fast deck. I just think there's going to be opportunities where they're just going to get a turnover and just pop it into forward line and no way our defenders will scramble and Charlie Cameron will dance around them. I just think we can't afford to make any mistakes. Like, they're just going to kill us on turnover. They're just going to take advantage of any dumb things that we do. Like, look how many times we turned over the ball against Melbourne. They did it as well against us because it was just an arm wrestle type of game. But I'm just worried about Brisbane's efficiency and speed And I just feel like it's going to be one of those games where we try so hard, and we make one mistake and they go to the other end and kick it. It's just going to be one of those ones.
Yep.
So, I mean, one goal is worth so much in a final, and I think we're going to give away a couple just from just not being good enough. So the willpower and the effort it's going to take to win those goals back has to come from just us dominating the midfield.
Yeah.
So unless Cripps plays like a god, Walsh plays like a god, Shearer plays like a god, and we just smash the midfield for some reason, I don't think we can win. Yeah.
Fair enough.
So I guess Cripps, Walsh, Shearer versus Neil,
Doherty,
Dunkley.
Dunkley, Dunkley and McCluggage.
What a great battle it'll be, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cripps has to really beat Dunkley, man.
I did read before, actually, that Jack Payne has a bit of a neck issue, might not play.
If he doesn't play, it's huge.
Wow. Imagine Mackay's back,
Yeah.
Payne out. All of a sudden, what's their other options other than Andrews, of course?
I think they've got Gardner, Dust Gardner, but I don't think he's been...
He can't go with Kerno, bro.
No
yeah,
way.
nah. That's the only option. Other than that...
And you'd probably, if you're Brisbane, would you want Payne on Kerno and Andrews on Mackay?
No, you want Payne on Kerno. He went to Kerno early in the season and he monstered him.
Yeah.
He's a super strong guy. But with Kerno, like what Melbourne, because Carlton didn't have any aerial threats other than Kerno, like Lever was on Fogarty. And Lever knows that Fogarty ain't marking the ball. So he just goes to Kerno. So Kerno is never allowed to jump at the ball. And so, like Kerno as an athletic forward, no defender can go with him if he runs and jumps at the ball. So you got to stop him. And May always had him in a gridlock and then out-muscled him. So Carlton needs to put speed on the ball and let Kerno jump at it. But if Payne's really, really strong and can stop him, then that'll affect it. If it's Gardner, he'll just run rings around him. So that is an advantage if it happens. But we'll need everything we can get.
It's going to be exciting. Is it Friday night?
Saturday
night, okay. Let's go tips, seeing as they were talking about it. And let's go margin as well, not just tip.
I like that idea.
Matsa, do you want to start us off?
Yeah. Brisbane by 35.
I think Brisbane by 19.
I feel harsh going higher than Matsa, but then lower just seems like, do I really think that?
Yeah, that's...
I think you're around the mark, Matsa. I'll go Brisbane by 30. Something like that. About a goal or so a quarter. I think that's not an embarrassing result for Carlton.
No, it's not. How much did they beat Port by?
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah,
I think you'll put in a better showing about Port. Speaking of which,
yeah.
let's transition to that. Let's have a bit of fun.
Here we go.
I'd just like to remind everyone, a few weeks ago, before the finals officially started, my prediction of Port Adelaide's final series. You're not going to beat Brisbane. And that was not a hate thing. That was just Brisbane at the Gabba. That was an easy tip, right?
Yeah.
But then I said, St Kilda or GWS, whoever won that, stubborn, defensive-minded team are going to beat Port in Adelaide. And I am so happy that I was right. Not only for North's personal gain, we'll talk about that briefly, but Port just shut the bed. Man, George, tell me what you were thinking watching that game, because from my point of view, it was close in the beginning, and then the Giants just kicked a goal, kicked another one, running rings around them.
They ran rings around. They destroyed them, man. It was one of the most kind of complete midfield battles, midfield dominance I've ever seen, especially in a final. Like the amount of broken tackles, the amount of space that they created. Callum Ward was dodging.
Dude,
winding back the clock,
bro.
But he couldn't be tackled. Caniglia couldn't be tackled. Tom Green couldn't be tackled. Whitfield couldn't be tackled. Whitfield weighs less than me, man.
Callie was excellent.
Yeah, they just destroyed them. And the thing is in the end of the second quarter, they kicked 6 straight behinds. Set shot behinds. Gettable, I'm going to take my time, collect my thoughts, and kick it and miss. It should have been 50 points plus halftime.
Yep. It's crazy to say that they won the midfield battle, because that's Port's biggest strength in my eyes.
But they destroyed them, man.
Butters, Rosie, Sook, Drew.
They were plus 16. I'm pretty sure they were plus 16 clearances to halftime.
Man, look at
16.
GWS.
Yeah, 16 to halftime.
Look at that score worm or whatever they call it.
That's looking really. That's just shrink.
It's just close, and then Port fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
It's so funny because you watch the Carlton Melbourne game, it's so gridlocked, so tight, so contested the whole game. There's so much space in this GWS game. There's people just kicking it, and people are running, and there's free flowing, and there's 15 meters between each player. completely different type of game style. But I don't think Port just wanted to defend at all.
It was one of the most complete, like, crowd silencing wins I've seen in the finals in years.
It felt like a round 3, not a final. It was just so irrelevant of an atmosphere.
The Port fans, the atmosphere was completely sapped because not only were they just losing or, going on the short end of the stick at various moments, but proper domination from the Giants. To the point where Port couldn't cheer anything. There was nothing to cheer. They couldn't get near them, couldn't tackle them. GWS just, picking targets for fun. It was actually just an incredible watch. Hogan, who we touched on earlier, domination in the air. Like Alia, no answer. Any other defender, no answer. Toby Green doing his thing. Daniels popping up.
They just had so much space in the forward line, man.
Oh, it's crazy, man.
Yeah, we're looking at that goal, the Canelio goal from about 40. No one anywhere near him. That's just, that's spread from the midfield. That's,
absolutely unreal.
Class.
Their defense, who Matsa praised as best in the league, shut down the Port attack.
It's funny, though, because I feel like as soon as I said that, I started seeing it always on the broadcast. Oh, this defense. I'm like, I know
copying you, man.
I know something at least. But in regards to Port, right? 13 wins in a season.
In a row.
In a row. Apologies, yeah.
Oh
13 wins in a row. And then you go into finals and you weren't even in either of those games.
Crazy.
It's disgusting. Honestly, they did, like, apart from what the start of this game that was, goal for goal, they weren't in either of those games.
Yeah, but why?
Because
I don't actually know why.
Based on what I saw, because their attack was just relying on Rioli to do some magic. Dixon, out of form, out of fitness.
Yeah.
Marshall, he's not good enough to carry you, let's be honest. Lord played well last week, respect, but what's he going to do? Ultimately, their attack is just relying on moments of absolute brilliance, which just were not there because the Giants' defense was great. Around the ball, like we praised Butters all year, and he was okay. We praise Rozzy all year. We say Horn Francis is this prodigious talent, but they were just outworked completely. Like it was like a bunch of kids playing a bunch of men in the midfield,
which it kind of is.
Think about and maybe that's all it is. Maybe it was just
legit. Like those guys are all super young. Like what's Rozzy and Butters? They're both like 21, 22.
Probably 22, 23.
Yeah, and then Horn Francis would be 19, 20.
Yeah.
And
if that's all it is, then fair enough. But and their defense, they're going to get Radigalia, supposedly. Zerk Thatcher as well as pick them. So you'd think it would improve, but they were just destroyed.
But in saying that, like Radagalia's had a good season. Like he's one of the big improvers in my eyes. But in saying that, like, he's not the proven full back that you're looking for.
It wouldn't have changed what happened tonight.
No. And Zerk Thatcher, he's only good if Asava is playing on the first forward. Because Zerk Thatcher cops so many goals. I think he's copped the most goals from a direct opponent in the year as a key defender. So, like, interesting that they're getting those two guys relatively unproven. And their ruckman that might come in, Jordan Sweet, who's also nominated them. Again, unproven. So is that going to improve the list that much? I don't know.
It's an interesting point.
Also, I was going to say, sorry to interrupt.
No, go.
I'm also requesting a trade to Port Adelaide since it's in fashion.
But what hole are you going to plug?
Anyone that they need.
It's the go home factor. We knew it would happen eventually.
Yeah, like, look, I am a bit of a utility, bit of a key forward at some points, back pocket, rover.
He's key forward and back pocket.
Key forward, back pocket, rover. First one of all time.
I'll tell you what, man. Can we? You could probably fill in the gap because, like, Powell Pepper in the forward line, great player. Ken Hinkley, master stroke. We need more toughness around the ball. Let's play Powell Pepper in the midfield. Yeah. Last quarter, he had 7 touches for the game.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Master stroke from Ken. Well done, mate.
That's his one shot. His one ace is Powell Pepper in different.
We need more grunt in the midfield. Let's put him in the midfield for a bit more grunt. How'd that work out, mate? Yeah, nice one.
Yeah. Look, and, I think we got to wind. You got to wind back the clock of some of your previous statements on the pod. People, real fans of the pod will know Dean's thoughts.
Yeah, look, I said a long time ago, like actually precisely the week that Wardlaw debuted, I had forgiven Port, forgiven Horn Francis. Like it worked out so well for North. We got Shees or Wardlaw, pick 14 now. Thank you for getting out of the finals early. But I just want to come out and officially say I was lying all along. I still hate Port.
Far out, man.
All right, look. Ultimately, I just take personal offense to what happened last year. I'm not going to get over it. I enjoyed them losing very much.
Oh yeah. It's karma.
It's
karma.
You know what? It's moved on beyond like a Horn Francis thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like he's just part of the problem for me.
They're just such a, like they're such villains right now.
Yeah.
Like Koshi, I don't want to hear that dude talk. What's it called? The Horn Francis thing, grooming a first year player to get him out of a club who needed, talent. There's that. And then Zach Butters, shoot off the girl. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just want to be villains right
Hinkley
now.
just fake good coach.
Yeah, fake good coach. He has the same amount of finals victories as Kingsley, bro. And Kingsley's been a coach for what, like 3 months?
That's
like,
so funny.
come on, man.
That's wild.
Wait, so how long did he get a contract extension for?
Probably too long.
Yeah, probably like 3-4 years. I don't know.
And that's the funny thing, right? So they win 13 in a row. Don't give him the new contract. Let him focus. They're in the zone. Don't distract them. As soon as he signs that shit, look what happened.
We went to Greece and Carlton beat their winning streak. Like they ended their winning streak that week. And since then they haven't been very good. But I haven't watched a lot of them because we've been away. I don't know why they've turned to shit. Like I haven't been able to.
Neither do I, to be honest. But what I will say honestly is they've clearly peaked too early. Hinkley wants to blame their injuries. We were just talking about Carlton's heroic performances with injuries. Every team's got them this time of the year, man. Darcy Moore coming back early for the Pies. Dacos is coming back probably a bit too early this week. Every team's dealing with something, man. I just don't accept that.
But what injuries do they have?
I think Dixon's the big one. They've rushed him back. Okay. But that doesn't matter.
Michael, we didn't even have one of our key forwards playing, or Jack Martin.
It's no excuse, but it's kind of sad that that's where he's going.
It's not it's not what you want to hear from a coach if you're a Port Adelaide fan.
No, not at all.
You don't want to hear that.
You want accountability.
Yeah, you don't want bullshit excuses. We're a bit tired.
No.
And you know what's really weird is that one of their game changers, Finlayson, wasn't even in the team. Like
Exactly.
That's another weird one. Like, is that like poor coaches' decisions? Like
that was apparently his wife is unwell.
so
he's not.
I'll take that back. Take that back.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is, okay, like he is a game changer, right? But again, the game wasn't lost because they couldn't kick goals. They couldn't get the ball. Like,
Yeah.
that's the big problem. They didn't have enough desire. Just everything was wrong. Yeah. Look, swept. It's shocking how it's happened with 2 top 4 teams. And ironically, the 3rd and 4th teams. Interesting how the top 4 kind of is really just the top 2 that matters.
Yeah,
That's
true.
Like
The home final.
Well, it's crazy. Look at we've talked about how crazy Carlton's turnaround is, but the Giants is just as crazy. In fact, maybe it's even more impressive because they've had to play so far from home with no crowd. When Carlton was 15th in round 15, and the Giants were 14th, and now we're both in a prelim, and have beaten the 2 teams that were 3rd and 4th.
And it is interesting, man. And the only slight difference I would say is at the time of what you're saying there, we were kind of saying, what are GWS though? Like we kind of still think they're good. Whereas at the time we were convinced Carlton was just gone. But GWS were all like, you know what? These guys are good though. Like why aren't they winning? Why are they so low?
They lost to West Coast.
Yeah. Like
That's crazy.
Now they're in a prelim.
That's crazy, man.
it's just wild. They've turned it around. Obviously the consistency, they've just got the right balance, man. Like Whitfield's back to his best. Kelly's fit.
All their best players are playing good.
And they're all just in the right position, man. Like, there's no stuffing around. Sort of like what the Bulldogs should be doing, in my opinion, is just play the best players where they're good.
But doesn't it feel like an obvious thing where if they changed their coach, found the right system, the Bulldogs would instantly be like a super team? It does feel like that, right?
They've got enough talent.
Yeah.
I agree. You know what, though? This GWS team is more talented than the Dogs, though.
Yeah, and to think that they
around the ground, yeah.
Yeah.
And to think that they had multiple clubs poach them for players as well. Like you look at Taranto and Hopper last year, and Trelaw in previous years. That was ages ago now. But still, even though losing 2, I would say inside mids who can walk into most teams in Hopper and Taranto, they still had enough.
Yeah.
Still had enough, options like Tom Green is in there and he's elevated his game again. Man, what a list! What a team!
Let's look forward because I'm just going to say something now. I'm putting it out there.
Do it, man.
I think they're going to win this week.
It's not that crazy. They're a pretty tough team.
I've been thinking about it, and Collingwood fans as well that I've spoken to anyway haven't been entirely convinced by the last month of their football. They're not in form. They've had a few injuries. Let alone now you're coming up against a team who's the opposite. Fit, firing, like mentality monsters. Like you said, they're playing anywhere. They've just got this group mentality now, which seems like almost too hard to break, even for Collingwood.
Yeah.
They're good on every line. I think they can match up with Collingwood's forwards.
Yeah, they can do it any time, any place.
I genuinely think GWS can beat Collingwood.
It's just crazy to think because Collingwood has been the clear best team all year, clear for 72-point year. But I don't know. I've just got this feeling like the Giants just will be in the game the whole way through, and of course they can win it. They've got Toby Green up there. Hogan's in great form. Riccardi's great form.
So what's your tip, then?
I'm going Giants by 1 point.
I'm also going Giants.
Oh, shit.
But it's more so, like, I generally think they can win, but I just kind of want them to win. I think in reality it's like a 65 Collingwood, like 65% chance Collingwood wins.
I think I say 65-point win from Collingwood. I'm like, geez, man.
So I think that
we're just sitting here writing GWS all this time, and we're just going to be like, nah.
No, not like that. So, I mean, I still would put the favourite in Collingwood. They will go in as favourites, but I really think GWS can win. I want to win, so I'll tip them as well.
Yeah, I'm going to go Collingwood by 15 because I've got to do something different.
No, fair enough. That's probably the more likely outcome, to be honest.
Yeah. But mine's a very safe tip.
But if GWS play tough, they have a transition game just like Collingwood. They have skillful players just like Collingwood. I mean, if anything, they've got a more functional forward line at the moment. They've got the smalls, just like Collingwood has it.
And their defence, as we've said,
it
should be okay with...
They actually... It's going to be potentially a very free-flowing, high-scoring game. But can they keep with them? I don't see why not. The advantage that Collingwood has is they have won a lot of close games, but so has the Giants. But the main advantage is the fact that they're going to have 90,000 fans.
Yeah, let's not forget
that's a lot. Oh, that's a lot of noise, man. That's a lot of noise.
Do I just change it? I'll go Collingwood by a point. I'll switch
Bro,
it.
you can't change your vote.
I'm going to switch it. You know what? I didn't even think about that.
Okay.
We know Giants can win anyway, but come on. The Collingwood crowd's going to be...
It's going to be 90,000 to 5,000.
I think it'll be Collingwood by a
Mate,
point.
5,000 is probably generous as well, man. Let's be honest.
5,000 is probably... Like, it's going to be so one-sided, it's actually criminal. But I've experienced it with the Carlton Sydney. It was like that, but it'd be even worse.
I'll take it back. 1 point Collingwood.
I'm
for that reason alone, though.
Well, I'm tipping GWS, but I did say I think Collingwood's more likely to win.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the crowd's the major factor. Because in terms of game style matchups, I feel like they can cover them.
I will say, though, I would love, I think we all would agree, Carlton-Collingwood grand final. Just putting it out there, obviously, we're Victorians. It'll be the best vibe in the state if that happened.
It'll be mental. It'll be absolutely mental. And then the winner will have the you know, I don't know what the word is, but like the stick on them for forever. Like you can't, if Carlton beats Collingwood in the grand final, no Collingwood fan can talk shit to him ever again. Like that's just a be gone thought type of shit. Like it's, but it also goes the other way around. So it's very high risk, high reward.
Yeah.
Wait, can I just rewind for a sec because I stopped listening for a sec. But did you say that you want to see Carlton and Collingwood in the final?
I would love to. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I don't know. Me personally, I don't want either of them to win the final. Like, sorry to be a hater, but like, if it's GWS versus Brisbane in the final, I could possibly get a grand final ticket. You know what I mean? And then because I've never been to a grand final before, here's my chance. You know, I can wear it. I can bring an orange T-shirt. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know.
See, for me though,
pseudo GWS fan. You know.
As a North fan, though, like we've won 4 premierships, yeah.
Yeah.
If Collingwood or Carlton won their 17th, are they both on 16 at the moment?
No, Collingwood's 15.
15 versus 16.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, if they win their 16th, the Carlton wins their 17th. It doesn't affect me whatsoever. Like Collingwood fans still talk shit. Carlton fans still talk shit.
Yeah, and like especially like
it's not going to change.
Yeah. It doesn't change for North fans, but it does for Carlton because Carlton will go clear top and Collingwood will go equal to Carlton.
Does that really matter though when half the premierships were in like 1940?
Definitely
like,
does.
Who gives a shit, bro?
No, because Collingwood, Essendon and Carlton are comparable because they've been around for so long.
It's a plastic argument for me. Like it's all about the here and now. Who cares like what happened 70 years ago?
Yeah, I kind of agree.
I don't know.
It's like,
I don't know if
it's like
that's a club that's not that old saying that shit.
Yeah.
We're pretty old.
Yeah.
How old?
Early 1900s, aren't we?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We
1910 or
just didn't win for years, bro. Our first one was in 75. But at least we won a few since then.
Our players were fighting in the
Bro, we
wars,
got
mate. What were you
premierships
guys
in
doing?
1800.
Mate, our team was away at war. What are you
That's
guys
it,
doing?
man.
Winning premiership. You prioritize premierships. World War One, World War Two.
No, you guys kept winning
World War II
premierships.
finished in the 40s.
Yeah, nah, conscription didn't happen for your boys.
30 years, you're all dead, so
And
you
then
needed
there was the
30 years to
Great
raise.
And then we won a few flags in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, that's it, man.
That's how simple you can make history. Some war, some depression, some kids.
Won a few flags.
Footy.
That's it. Anyway,
I've lost my train of thought after that.
now look, I don't care. I just want the vibe in Victoria, Collingwood, Carlton.
Fair
It
enough.
would be
That's
crazy,
fair
but
enough.
you talk about it doesn't really matter what number your premierships. There is one premiership that matters the most. That's the first, and that would be GWS.
True. Oh look, I'll get
Imagine
around
being
this.
the first ever team to win
Yeah.
a premiership,
No matter what though,
like the first ever GWS team to win a premiership.
yeah, no matter what happens, just please be a watchable grand final. Because if we get some rubbish like last year, 2 years in a row, I'll just claw my eyes out.
But do you think that GWS Brisbane will be watchable? No.
What?
Probably, yeah.
I
Why
think
not?
they're the most fun teams in the league.
Yeah, atmosphere-wise, they'll be crap.
Exactly. That's why I
That's-
want
Compare that to a Collingwood Carlton close last quarter.
Oh,
Yeah.
it'd be insane.
Come on,
It'd be
man.
insane.
That's not even remotely
It'd be
the same
crazy.
thing.
Well, we
It'd be
got it
crazy.
last year in the last round, and that was regular season.
That was mental.
That wasn't
game.
even finals yet.
Yeah, it's
So-
still it was effective like 90,000, effectively the same shit, right? But when it's actually a final and it's a replay of that game, that's like legendary stuff.
Exactly right. Oh, it's exciting, man.
Brisbane just have to do their part and fold. Actually, I just thought of something on the spot, right?
Yeah.
Earlier in this year, I talked about a strategy to beat Brisbane. So if Brisbane's winning at the Gabba, just cut the lights.
Oh yeah, you did say
Bro,
that. Bro.
that's what Carlton needs to do.
Just
If they
cut the
lose,
lights.
cut the lights at the Gabba. Wind
Get
it
the
back.
axe. Get the axe and
Get
throw
the axe and
up
cut the.
I
cut the
swear,
lights.
if Brisbane's winning and then the lights go
Bro,
out and Carlton wins,
bro.
you're getting arrested, bro.
there. Getting arrested. Illuminati are coming.
Don't track this IP address.
FBI coming.
That's wild.
Someone's coming for you, man.
How funny would that be? It's like, oh, we need a reset. What do we do? You know what to do, boys. If there's one team that has the assets to do it,
Oh yeah.
it's Carlton.
I'll be curious to see how many Carlton fans get tickets though as well, because Collingwood. I remember when they were at the Gabba, they had decent numbers.
Look, I think there'll be good numbers because
Yeah.
there's decent support in Brisbane anyway. But this hasn't happened for such a long time. A lot of people will go if they can afford the $2,000 plane ticket up to Brisbane.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, what's your plans? Where are you watching?
I think Icon Park might have a hosting, so that might be interesting, or like a local pub.
Okay.
Anywhere where there's people.
Yeah, you
So
need to
that
be around.
if for some reason, by some miracle, we win, there's got to be boys around you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so that you can like just grind each other to the night ends. I mean, what?
Interesting choice of words.
Hey.
You know, jump on each other, be happy. That's what I meant.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you know.
Oh, and one more thing, because that was weird. I'm going to move on from that. The Coning's in the air. Robbie Williams, bro. That's interesting. What a G up.
It's odd, but it's cool.
He even like posted in his story like an article from mid-year where Carlton was playing bad, which means he's followed the whole season. He's a
Wow.
proper supporter.
Right,
Oh,
Kaltoum is losing his mind as we speak, talking about Robbie Williams on the pod. Anyway,
Oh man.
crazy. Just general AFL news. Anything that's caught your eye in the news?
There's one very big one, and we were talking about, and we got a bit silly last week with our Mount Rushmore segment. The genuine person who's on Mount Rushmore, maybe 4 times, is Ron Barassi.
Yeah, true.
And like that's a genuine Mount Rushmore type guy. Passed away. Apparently he passed away peacefully, which is great to hear. You know, with his family around him. But yeah, that's a legend of the game gone. That's the first. Like it actually unites us as fans as well because he was a Carlton premiership winner, I believe so.
Coach.
Player coach.
Was he coach?
Player coach.
Yeah.
And also he was the first coach to coach North Melbourne, our team, to a premiership as well.
And
legend of the game.
And won like 6 premierships with Melbourne. So it's interesting that he passed away after the Carlton Melbourne game where he had such a big influence in both teams.
Yeah,
But
rest in peace. Yeah,
Yeah, so no,
sad news.
that's definitely worth a mention. Yeah, otherwise,
Yeah, like we
Yeah.
touched on a few trade requests. So Zerk Thatcher, Radigalia, our boy Dill Stevens.
Dylan Stevens, yeah.
Forget that Bloods culture. It's all about the North Shimburner culture.
But did he say North or he just said trade?
It's heavily
Yeah.
assumed. I
Yeah.
think he's a bit worried to say North, just in
Yeah.
case.
The
Just in case a better
backlash.
team comes along.
Yeah, it's it's weird because
Oh, Carlton are.
there was like 3 tweets that like popped up at the same time. One of them said North are interested. The other one said he's requested a trade to North, and the other one was North will push. They were just all worded differently, but it's very much
It'll be North. It'll be
yeah.
North.
It'll just be interesting how we make it happen, but I'm sure we'll have we've got a couple second rounders or maybe a third rounder or something that can probably get it done.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, no, they'll sort
It won't be a third rounder. He was a pick pick 5.
Yeah, future
It's
second.
4 years ago, man.
Yeah.
You got to go on current value.
And
It's
he's
like
out of
Petrovsky Seedon. What are you trading for him now?
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
pick
he got
5.
delisted.
Exactly.
Yeah, true.
So that doesn't matter.
That's mental.
Yeah, and you know what? I was gonna say he's out of contract as well, so we can just walk him to the preseason
We'll get
preseason
him.
draft.
I'm
Yeah,
not-
he's gonna come to North. I don't think West Coast would pick him. You know, I don't think West Coast would go pick a Adelaide / Melbourne boy. You know what I mean? Because I think he was born in Adelaide, but he grew up in Melbourne.
but-
There's a weird mix there, but they're not going to pick him up.
They don't do. Yeah, that's the AFL's like unwritten rules sort of thing.
Yeah.
Harry Sheasel, best and fairest for North Melbourne last night as well.
Yes, that caps off one of the all-time first year first all-time first years. Like that's unbelievable.
I was saying a few weeks ago, like if he doesn't improve at all, he's going to go down as a North legend, and he will improve, obviously.
Yeah, he had 600 disposals this year.
Yeah.
600.
Wild.
Like the interesting thing with him is like, does he stay in at the half back line, or does he move forward, or does he move in the guts?
You need the ball in his hands, man. He'll go wherever we need the ball.
Yeah, exactly. I think so as well.
Crazy player. What else? Just on North, heaps of coaches leaving. Rat's gone. Josh Gibson, part-time coach, gone.
I think Boomer Harvey's moving to a different
Boomer's
role.
moving. Yeah. The
Blakey
development coach gone. Blakey gone.
Yeah.
It's going to be a whole new staff, which is exciting, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say it is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Like, here's an interesting thing. We're going to be talking about North.
No,
more
just
than what we
briefly.
should
Just
be, but,
briefly.
Like Damien Barrett was saying something along the lines of that vlog. He was saying something about North don't deserve assistance because they got to fix stuff within their club. And if that's the case, then sacking all these coaches is a step in the right direction according to his his books. So we'd assume that he knows a bit more than us, and maybe there is some problems in the staffing area. But hopefully it's being rectified if that exists.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Look, your administration department has to be on point for your on-field performance to be good. That's a must. The only thing is we don't know what state any clubs like coaching staff is in. We never have a reading. We'll never be able to know unless an ex-player comes out and says they were shit. So you just hope that your club's being run properly.
Yeah.
But usually you can know from the on-field performance.
Yeah. And look, guys like Damien Barrett, just quickly, and this it extends pretty widely in the media. Like all year long, all I hear is, look at North, look at West Coast, uncompetitive. This isn't good for the AFL. Like obviously, we can talk all day about how we got there, or we can try to do something about it. And then they're complaining about potential support of some kind. Like, just get stuffed.
Yeah, no, I agree.
You can't have it both ways, man.
It's rubbish. It's just a constant beating down of the bottom teams.
It's the next
and it's easy to do.
It's not even that. It's a constant whatever's the flavor of the week thing to say to get the views, and then switch it whenever it's relevant.
Exactly.
It's not just about bond teams. It's about something bad happens. Like let's say Brisbane's had a great year. Let's say they lose to Carlton. What's the news going to be on Monday morning?
Oh, man.
Brisbane have wasted the opportunity. It's another failure of this club. Is Chris Fagan the man?
Exactly.
And they've had a brilliant season.
Yeah.
So it's just the way it is.
And things take time, man. I mean, look at the teams now that are left. Giants, obviously, a newish team still. Carlton, down for so long.
Yeah.
Heaps of change needed.
Brisbane was one of the last teams who got a priority pick, not including Gold Coast.
Horrendous for years. Now they're good. Like, we're down now. It's fine. It goes and comes. But anyway, what else? Yeah, anything else? Anything else you guys want to talk about?
I was going to say, like, this is very early, but who do you reckon of all these teams, if any team was to win, who gets the Norm Smith?
All right, we'll go through each one.
Yeah.
Carlton first.
Look, I think it'd be Walsh. And the reason is Walsh never really has a bad game, right? So let's say it's an even contest and the guy's had 35 possessions. No one's going to begrudge you for picking him. But I think it's either like if Kerno has a really big game, he could win it, or just a midfielder. A Cripps, a Chera, a Walsh.
If Carlton wins, they'll find a way to give it to Cripps. I'm sure of it.
Look,
true.
If Carlton wins, they'll need Cripps to have a big game anyway. So it's one of those ones you wouldn't be surprised. I'd prefer Cripps to win it. Because then if he goes down as a legend, Premiership captain, Brownlow medalist, Norm Smith medalist, done.
What about, aside from saying the obvious star players, who would be like the smoky, just plays out of his skin like an Isaac Smith or something?
Blake Acres.
Yeah, Acres is he's got that dog in him, man. Who knows what
he's got that dog in him.
I think like
Defends 1 through 5 as well.
He's man.
Look, Akers can
bro.
do anything at the moment. So
Bill,
we'll put it past him.
sorry, Bill. George has no idea what that means. Be defense 1 through 5. He has no idea. But
No, I've got no idea.
no, it's a basketball thing.
Okay,
But anyway,
I have no idea. Someone like a Sard could win it. Maybe.
yeah, fair enough.
Wiedering.
That woof's getting louder by the week, by the way.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
they're that sick of it, they just give him the reward.
So,
Let's go.
so GWS, there's an obvious answer there.
Yeah.
Clear one's Toby, obviously.
Absolutely.
Who's the smoky pick?
this?
I find that a bit more fun to talk about.
Well,
Like, not Kelly, not Green, not
Not Cogs.
Cogs. Like, basically, forget all
Do you
the, like,
count Whitfield in that? Is Whitfield also obvious?
I would say that's an acceptable answer for a bit of a wild card.
Yeah. Okay. I'll go with Whitfield.
I'll
they're just going to
go-
give it to Green, let's be honest.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, regardless of what he does.
Green can have like 14 possessions and a goal and says his leadership.
True.
I don't know, to be honest. I think it.
How about if Harry Himmelberg just goes crazy? He holds off. Let's say.
I'm always saying no.
Fair enough. All right.
It just seems so unlikely. Who won the Norm Smith? So Petrarca before that.
My memory's bad, bro. I can't remember who won the last 5 flags.
Yes, same.
Neither
So
do
last year Isaac Smith. Year
Smith.
before, I'm pretty sure someone stole it from Fridge. It must have been
That was
Petrarca.
Petrarca.
It was Petrarca. Go further than that. Who won?
I don't remember.
West Coast. West Coast. Oh no, that's probably a few more years.
That's
before that.
2018, bro.
That's probably a few more years before that.
Anyway, none of us clearly know.
What I'm
Yeah.
saying is,
I don't
it's
remember.
typically
yesterday,
a
bro.
halfback or a midfielder that gets a lot of the ball.
Lockie Ash, maybe.
No way,
Ooh.
bro.
That's an interesting one, but
It's
that is
fun,
interesting.
but it's
It's hard for the Giants.
it's
All right,
pretty-
let's just say maybe a Whitfield, probably.
Yeah.
Okay, what about the Pies?
The Pies, the obvious pick is obviously Dacos. But a cool one would be Pendlebury, winding back the clock.
That'd be cool.
Still relying on his, high,
Yeah.
disposal games and his great use of the footy. That'd be really cool.
Maybe a Josh Dacos gets it instead.
Ooh.
That'd be
Yeah,
nice.
So then he gets here. He properly has one over his brother there if he wins a
Yeah.
Norm.
I mean, DeGoey could win it. I mean, Darcy Moore could win it. Even like a crazy like a Bobby Hill if he kicks like 4 goals or something. Or Jamie Elliott, these types could win it
Yeah.
as well.
Interesting. And then, excuse me, obviously Brisbane as well. We'll exclude Neil.
Dunkley.
They probably have the most variance because they got so many damaging small forwards.
Yeah.
Any of them has a day out, they can win. Any of their midfielders have a day out. I'm gonna go with McCluggage because I reckon he's been elite.
You love McLuggage, man.
He's so good.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Bailey. He's
I want to say Bailey, but you guys,
know what?
don't,
I'll go
you guys
Bailey.
don't like it when I talk about Bailey.
I'll go Bailey. I'll go
He's-
Bailey.
He's great, man. What if he has he pinch hits, gets 25 disposals and 3 or 4 goals, man? It's
Oh.
his.
He's a gun, man. The thing about Bailey, he doesn't look quick.
Yeah,
But he's so fast.
I
He's
love
so
seeing George get hyped about certain players. Bailey's one of those dudes that properly gets you going. Like the excitement in your eyes. You're
Carlton needs
he's
Bailey.
so-
Carlton needs Bailey, bro.
Oh, man.
What do they need to do to get this kid?
That'd be nuts.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. I got
we got-
one tiny little segment, but to be honest with you, I don't even. I wrote these questions ages ago, so I think they kind of suck. Actually, you know what?
The question he wrote us so long ago: who's gonna win round 20?
Give me a sec. I got one sec. But I don't know. I wrote these in Greece, so I was probably chilling on the beach, thinking, "Oh, that's kind of cool." Probably isn't cool.
Have you looked at the questions?
Yeah. Give me one second. No, because did I send that? Yeah, I did send it. Here we go. So it's like a bit of a would you rather AFL edition, and so for this upcoming draft, would you rather have pick 1 or pick 2 and 3? And this is a bit of a real life scenario.
2 and 3.
Fair enough.
I think I learned that last year, how good that can be. She's a Wardlaw. If you nail it, 2's better than 1.
I agree, especially for Carlton's perspective. We don't really need. I mean, you can always use a Harley Reid, right? But we'd probably like to go and get 2 superstars that you can fit different roles and progress while the team's still good.
Watson and
Yeah, get a Watson and a midfielder.
yeah, fair enough. So here's one that you made me think about it, Georgie, because when you said, "Oh, if Cripps gets it, he becomes a legend," right? So would you rather your team win 2 premierships, or your team wins 1 and your favorite player gets 2 Brownlows and a Norm Smith?
Nah, 2 premierships.
Premierships every day.
I kind of get it because like you want to reinforce. You feel like your team's won when your player gets those accolades, but no, 2 premierships for sure.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I was just kind of thinking of it like, because if LDU all of a sudden had 2 Brownlows, how sick would that be? Like, I'd love that, but it wouldn't outweigh the premierships, to be honest with you. All right, so how about finish 9th, or you finish in the top 4, but you get knocked out in straight sets?
Oh, that's the best question yet.
Yeah, that is actually a good question because it's like, do you think draft pick or do you value finals experience or what's, it's kind of, well, I think you got to know where your team's at, right? So, for example, for Carlton, obviously taking that next step this year, getting into the finals, winning a couple of finals sets them up for future years, right? Whether as opposed to not knowing. So I think you go top 4.
Well, what we're basically asking in the context of the season is, would you rather be Adelaide or Port Adelaide?
Yeah, true.
I think Adelaide fans are pretty happy right now, to be honest with you.
Look, they'd feel robbed, but they'd feel good going into next season for sure.
Yeah, like Port. I think the finals, like being there, being at the game.
I think it makes a difference.
It does make a difference, yeah. I would rather make top 4 and get swept than just not play finals.
As embarrassing as it is.
But it's it's a horrible feeling.
Yeah. All right. How about elite kicking skills and below average pace, or elite pace but below average kicking skills?
No, definitely the kicking skills. Pendlebury is the slowest player in the field. He's made a whole career out of being elite in decision making and kicking.
Yeah, fair enough.
But you don't need to be fast if you can kick the ball. Sam Mitchell.
The ball moves faster than any player could, but those truly quick players change games. I still would rather have a skillful team though.
Yeah,
yeah, 100%. Fair enough. I think you'd have to strike the balance. But in saying that, like if I could pick as a player which one I am, I'd rather be the good kick, because then you're the guy who's like kind of overseeing. But here's one thing though. How about your boy, the guy who the scapegoat who can't kick? Oh no, who can kick, but that's all he can do. Who's that dude? O'Brien.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, look, he can kick, right? But he doesn't. He's not a footballer. So it's not tough enough. So it's not just about one asset. Your other assets, you still have to be tough. You still have to be able to. Well, actually, O'Brien's a funny one because he doesn't necessarily have a lot of. Like, he's a good runner, he's a good kick, and he's not slow.
So he doesn't even fit that category, really, does he?
So why he's shit, I don't know. I even forgot that guy existed, man.
No,
he's delisted. This man is delisted.
Absolutely, he is. But anyway, that's all I got for that.
Nice, yeah, good questions, man.
No, all good.
Awesome. Well, I think, look, what an exciting week we've got. Prelims, man. 2 teams are going to be in the granny. That's just wild.
Yeah, and it's not really that obvious who it's going to be.
Not as much as it has been in recent years.
No.
So let's just sit back, enjoy. George, good luck.
Thank you.
I hope, just for my own personal viewing experience, it's Collingwood Carlton, like I said, but I wish you well. Matsa, have a good week.
Thanks, bro. You too, fam.
I guess we'll be back and we're going to have a lot to talk about next week. Grand final preview.
If Carlton wins, bro, I'm not coming on the podcast. They don't need to even. The fans know what I think, right? If Carlton, and I've already said it, if Carlton wins this prelim, they're winning the grand final no matter who they've placed. So effectively, I've done my job as a podcaster now. You know if we win, I'll see you after the grand final.
Fair enough.
Done.
Fair enough.
Love the confidence, man. All right, thanks everyone for watching again. Just be sure to like, sub, and all that stuff, and we'll catch you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.